Hello again and welcome back to Wingot Plays Oxygen Not Included. This episode I am looking to get a rocket up and running, and so I am starting to build a little bit here to prepare for that, putting some bunker doors in, and I'm thinking that this section here can be our rocket chimney for the time being. In future I think we'll probably wind up moving our chimney over to here on the right side of the map because there seems to be a lack of geysers over in this direction. Over here there's one, but you could easily fit a number of rockets in between there. There's a cool steam vent that potentially we may have to sacrifice. We don't care about this carbon dioxide vent, and there seems to be nothing else up here. Whereas if we take a look on the left side of the map, there's a hydrogen vent, there's a natural gas geyser, and we've not even explored this whole section up here and could very easily run into a problem. We do need to make sure there's not something over here, which we can do if we just extend up this ladder, and then that should get us a decent exploration there of that bit of the map, and in fact will probably get us the Explorer the Map achievement. Down here, the only way I think that we can reveal what's in here is, I was about to say by breaking the abyss light, but definitely not, because we can go in straight here. And then that will allow us to also see what's going on there with that part of the map. The polluted water that we're going to run into there, I'm not super concerned about. I might dig this down a little bit further here so that the polluted water can dump into this space. Perfect. In the meantime though, have also set up some jobs to dig out down in the oil biome here to try to figure out what's going on. I thought I had... Oh, I think I told them to dig out this space here, which it looks like they've probably already done. There's a whole chunk of crude oil. I might just dig this channel across. And in fact we don't even need to get rid of that bottom line there. Yep, that should be pretty good. And then that will, well, it'll drop a chunk more crude oil into here, shouldn't overflow anything, and we then will be able to have a better view of what's going on over here. We might even just put a request to dig one of the tiles over here. One thing I did notice as well between episodes was this here, crude oil. There's solid crude oil. I've never seen that. I didn't realize that the game allowed for solid crude oil. Obviously it does, but at negative 40 degrees crude oil turns solid, which I noticed because over here somewhere there's some crude oil that's close to melting. But yeah, I thought that was pretty impressive when I saw that. That said, for the time being, I think we're going to try to get to work on setting up a rocketry area here, and as part of that, we are going to need to put some cooling. That was in the wrong spot. Some cooling for our miners. We don't want to go across there because that's where the abyss light is. So what if we instead go across here? There we go. And because we want to keep this area safe from clean from any debris, so that the rocket will be able to come in, but also so that the space scanner will be able to sit here and keep an eye out for the rocket. Actually, no, I think I want this space scanner instead sitting to the side of... because it needs to tell this to open up if the rocket is coming back. Meanwhile, let's have a quick look here. That lines up perfectly. I wasn't even trying to do that. Okay. So I think we will definitely use those 2 spots for the bunker doors then. And it means we will need to dig out a little bit of this abyss light, but otherwise rockets would have been above ground, and I think it's nicer to put them underground, and we'll see how we can go about dealing. It also means we've got a background there so that this steam or whatever can be more easily captured. Although I'm not 100% how steam works when you've got it in space, because it counts as an atmosphere. But if you have something like here venting out into space, it gets deleted as soon as it hits the space tiles. So I'm not 100%. I did have a issue with the Vole system where they had managed to puke back out the regolith right there onto the pneumatic door, and that allowed for them to cross the door. Because of that, I have put in a second pneumatic door here, so that I believe if they do puke it there, they won't possibly be able to puke it onto the second door, and will prevent the shovel's in the right hand side here from ever being able to get to the left side. The only thing is I don't know if it's possible for him to be sitting right there and puke onto the top of this pneumatic door. But if that ever happens, then that will be a discovery that we will find then. For the time being, let's see, skill required. One thing I have colony achievement. That's probably the explorer enough of the map. There you go, pulling back the veil, revealed at greater than 80% of the map. And I think they've done that digging job there. So if we push even further across, we can... What's that? That's lead. Good. We can tell them to dig that out and make sure we can see what's on the left. Then over here, we actually can get down to this pocket without breaking any abyss light. There we go. And that'll at least allow us to see what's left of the map and use that to guide whether or not we do actually use this right hand side for the chimneys. We might wind up having to just sacrifice this cool steam vent, but we will make sure that there's not something else going on in the area, because if we sacrifice that, then we get... What's this? Let's say that we keep this cool steam, and we would have 44 tiles to play with. And if we take a look up here, the steam turbine, for example, the steam engine is 7 across. So if we've got 44, that would mean we could have 8. Yeah, we could have 8 steam engines lined side to side. So it's possible that this cool steam vent just isn't important enough. I don't know where this crude oil came from. I wonder if there was some solid crude oil somewhere, but there we go, there's an oil biome. So it probably came from right there. Now, I'm working on closing up the base a little, the spaces a little bit, because I've been having a little bit of a think of how we separate out the various pods, and I think what we're going to do is basically have multiple zones. So the duplicants that are allowed in this top section, they can cover basically the whole top quarter of the map. But then the duplicants that are up here are only allowed in the top section of the map, except maybe for one duplicant who is allowed to come into the middle of the map. And then the middle of the map is going to be like a storage exchange area, where there's going to be one duplicate from each pod is allowed into the middle section of the map. I'm just having a quick look to see if anyone has digging because we've only got one digger at all at the moment, so it would be very nice to, you're anemic, you're noodle arms, yeah, it'll be very nice if we see another digger to pick one up. And long hairs are doing fine over here. I'm wondering whether I should put more long hairs, because long hairs only use oxygen and we've got too much oxygen. We're not using a decent chunk of the oxygen that we're producing. So it would be nice to probably have more long hair slicksters to utilise up more of that oxygen. Diet oxygen 30 kilograms per cycle. And if we take a look at the duplicants use 0.9% per cycle. Per second. It doesn't actually say. Inhaling 100 grams per second, and I believe there's 60 seconds to a day, which would suggest they do 6 kilos each in a cycle. I'll have to look into that. But the long hair slicksters, I think, eat a lot. 30 kilograms per cycle. So I think they possibly eat up a lot more oxygen than the duplicants. I'll have to go looking into that. As it is, we will want to probably replace our electrolyzer setup at some point, but we don't want to create too much demand and break our oxygen before we get around to that. But anyway, what I was saying, yes, one duplicant from each of the 4 quadrants would be allowed into the central space, and then the central space would be a intermingling sort of area where any resources that need to be shared can be brought between them. For example, any research data that comes from these rockets would be able to be taken down there and taken off to our research sector if our research sector is not the top. Any steel or plastic or things like that which are made down here in our industrial and oil area, would then be brought up there into a space that could then be taken into the others as required. And we would have we'll basically have 4 dogs bodies who are allowed into this space and can go grab those materials. But in order to do that, we need to seal up the spaces. And so in order to work towards that, I'm putting in a few various airlocks to try to get started on a bit of control of the spaces. I'm also thinking that I probably want to... Oh, hang on. That can go there, and then we can get rid of those. I'm thinking that I probably want to throw a few more duplicants up into that top section. I might push it up to 4 at the moment that are allowed up in this top section but are not allowed down in the main section of the base. And once we've got that, so long as we have isolated the top section from the rest of the base, I'm thinking that I'll probably then close off this top section as well, so that nobody's allowed through other than our one test duplicate. The big issue is food, which needs to come across, and so I will have to have a bit of a play with making sure that that one test duplicant is able to access the food and take it up. It might be easier to start with to have all of the 4 duplicants restricted to up here. 1 duplicant is allowed into this middle section, and then all other duplicants are also allowed into this middle section. And this middle section would then have a fridge that could be used to piggyback up to the fridge up there. But anyway, it looks like we are at a point where I've now gotten rid of where I've now built ladders and poles the whole way down. So I think we can get rid of all of this accessory stuff here, and how are we going up here on our spaceship? So we've got this space scanner. It's currently searching for meteor showers. But what we want it to do is, if it finds a meteor shower, well, if these find a meteor shower, or if it detects our rocket, we'll need to build our rocket first. If it detects our rocket coming in, then it needs to open up as well. But in order to open those, we are then going to need some sort of logic. We're going to need, I think, an OR gate, and the OR gate can go here, because even if there's a meteor storm, and if there is a rocket coming, it needs to open up, no matter what. It just needs to open up. But then we also want to bypass so that the rest of these are still on the original signal. So if we do that, then we should be able to, anything that says to open these bunker doors will also say open these two are those two. Yeah, okay, I had it right, correct, originally. There we go. So these two doors will be controlled by only this OR gate. They're allowed to be open if there's no meteor shower, but they're also need to be open if there is a rocket coming back. If there's a rocket coming back, that overrides whether these say to close for the meteor shower. Okay, I can't currently get in here with my duplicates, so let's do that. Cancel that. And then build that. Good. We've got power everywhere, so the only thing is it doesn't connect anywhere to a power source. But what I can do, because we're going underground for this, I can dig out that space and then that. This pneumatic door probably doesn't need to be there once we've got a digger up here. I think that's the challenge, is we need a digger up here. But then we want a heavy white joint plate here, which will then grab the power cable, which for now, let's just put the power cable here. There we go. And I think we want to try to dig out a bit more of the space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. And then that will allow us to do these building jobs that are currently being blocked by the debris or the rock. Good. And and then it's just going to be a matter of bringing in power, which... Oh, we want to create... I was thinking we want to create a separate zone here, but we only need a separate zone for where the rocket itself is. This space here doesn't need to be a separate zone to this space here. So I might, for now, get rid of this pneumatic door, and then we can just run the power cable straight across, and we can worry about rebuilding it if required in future, if I've overlooked or misunderstood how this is likely to look. Okay, now let's go take a look what that printable is, and if I'm lucky, it's going to be a digger. A tidier or a building rancher. We've got plenty of ranchers. The bottomless stomach is not actually an issue at the moment, but it... Oh, a spare mechatronics engineer could be useful. At the moment, I think we've got 2. Telomerase is allowed to research it. Hydrochlorothiazide does. Somatotropin is only 1 away. Okay, we've got only 1 mechatronics engineer at the moment, and we've got plenty of space for another duplicate. So I think Barney here, who has mechatronics engineering and is a tidying, wants to, I think they want to come into our society, into our colony, and then we initially, I think we're going to get them up here in the gym, but they, I think, will be our first, well, our second duplicate coming up into this space. What is going on with the carbon dioxide here? This has not been primed. There we go. Oh, or it all turned into ice. Okay, how about we... see what we can do about getting it running, but we're probably going to need to run it for a while to generate enough heat to keep actual water in here. We are still putting water into it. This, oof, that water was negative 3.6 degrees though. We're inputting basically 0 degree water. Oh, and it's broken. Yeah. Because this area is negative 10 degrees. That's so annoying. Anyway, we'll bring another duplicate into here. I think we definitely need to do something about a proper heating solution, because, well, this input is 35 degrees. It's just there's so much cold in this space here that we're trying to fight against. It's not generating cold, or it's not losing heat, but there's just such a limited amount of water coming in. The other option is we could bring the polluted water in for cooling. That would require us to create more channels. Or alternatively, the other option is go back to the old default of put some kilns in here or something to try to force some heat. Okay, I think we're going to have to worry about that later on. For now, we want Barney, but what does Barney need to be called? If you give me just a moment, I will figure that one out. Actually, I've been thinking about it a little bit, and I think this duplicate is specialized in tidying. And mechatronics, they're quite building powerful as well. So I think maybe they could be a hepatocyte, a liver cell, because the liver detoxes the body and also builds albumin and hormones and all sorts of interesting things. So I think we're just going to call this dupe hepatocyte, and then hepatocyte is not allowed out until she figures out how to use a exosuit, which is all the way up there. But once she does know how to use an exosuit, at that point she will then be able to leave the base. And there's an unassigned mess table there, good. How many do we have? 9, there's 13. Okay, so with the 14 dupes, one of which is upstairs, she should be fine there. Meanwhile, let's take a quick look here. So hepatocyte and frusemide can both change schedules because they're both on the default schedule, and we'll forget about them in future if we don't move them now. There we go. And then all of our schedules are currently full. And at the moment, if we did have any more duplicates, we would have a bit of overlap there. I think we'll have to worry about that later on. For the time being, we are still working on trying to get our satellites up here up and running, and the power... I think it's because there's so many hard digging jobs, so we, as I say, we really need another digger. But hopefully we will see if we get one in the next printing lot, because that's what's slowing us down here at the moment on being able to do these various jobs. Why is no one... 1, 2, 3, 4... They should be able to do this, it's just a matter of someone actually coming up and doing it. That said, do we actually have any sandstone? We've got 30 tons of sandstone, so they should be able to do these jobs. It's just that no one is doing it as a priority. What have we got? We've got 6 tons of steel. I think we probably actually want more steel. How are we going up here? 119 degrees, fine. And how are we doing for iron? If we do 50, that'll use 3,500 kilograms of iron. So we'll basically clean ourselves out by doing that job. So what I might do is use up another 5 ton of iron, converting it. In fact, let's convert up a full, much as we can, iron there. And what have we got there? I think we'll do some more fossil to line as well. So we basically want all of the line that we possibly can, because, well, we've got 590 kilos, which is going to be enough to do 50, because we only need a third of that. We've got 1,480 kilos in total. Now, back up here. We do need to dig up this side as well, because that's where the rocket is going to go. Yeah, unfortunately we need to dig this out so that we can get the power line in. Without the power line, none of this becomes functional. So then question is, can we cover this space as well pretty well with let's see, so that covers to there, and then this one would cover to there, and it can go up the space. I think I'm going to fill in these holes though, so that this one here is going to be able to grab everything, and we'll do the same over here. This down here we can probably actually change these so that they're no longer bunker tiles, given that they're no longer receiving the direct impacts. And if I turn it into mesh tiles, I don't know if those buildings are going to get in the way. But I think mesh tiles is probably the simplest option. And we can actually get rid of all of these, and we can just make mesh tiles everywhere. Good. And then we want to also cool those. And then we need a conveyor loader that they can both access. That's okay. I think this one needs to move over one. Because then it will actually be able to access. Although up here it can't clear the roof of the but there it won't be able to collect what is on the same line. So what if we do this? What if we turn it sideways? Then it can access the roof of the what's it called? The rocket chimney, and it would then also be able to cover the space underneath the auto sweeper, the miner, the robo miner. Really struggling with my words today, it seems. Anyway, that can go there. We need one more of these. Perfect, and then that should be our cooling line piped in, and then it will just need a bit of power, and it should all then just work. These unreachable, but they will be reachable once those are built. What's going on there? That automation wire, yeah, fine. I think I'm happy with that staying closed for the time being. It can open up once we've got the other scanners and stuff up and running. Now let's take a quick look. We are very quickly running out of time, but let's see. We want a command capsule. The command capsule is, let's say there. Let's put it a couple of tiles beneath the doors. And then it's going to want a research module, which takes up a whole 5 layers by itself. And then below the research module, there's another 5 layers for the steam engine. So the steam engine and 1 research module is 10. Command capsule is 5 by itself. So each of these is exactly 5 tall. Yep. So I think we're probably going to do a capsule, research module, steam engine. Because I think 2 research modules is enough that we can then discover both of the world composition things, although I can't remember about would that then mean we would need to send 3 rockets? Databanks can be used at Virtual Planet. And I think 5 research modules winds up being very heavy in regards to trying to actually get them to the planet. Let's see, tools not included is a really useful website, which if we pull this one up here, can you actually see that? You can. Okay, so tools not included. There is a, hang on, World Trade Star map browser, not map tools, is there? Okay, give me a sec. There's a rocket calculator. Not included rocket calculator. Oh, it's in on the assistant, not tools not included. So on the assistant allows you to say, let's say we want 5, not cargo bays, 0 cargo bays, and 5 research or sightseeing modules with a steam turbine. We could only get to 200. Hang on, oxalite or liquid oxygen. I think oxalite is what we need to do to start with. And achievable distance versus fuel. So I think we need 270 or 380 in order to... I think I'm going to have to revise how the rockets work before the next episode so that I can figure that one out properly. But for the time being, we're just basically digging out all of this space, putting in some automation above it, and also working on trying to isolate out our duplicates up the top. Farming, cooking, suit wearing. Suit wearing, fine. Cooking, I don't think we need another cook. We've already got 2 cooks. Farming, I don't remember if I've got someone who's good at farming. Researching suit wearing or just researching. Researching suit wearing, but they're a pacifist. This could be one of our rocket guys. And so if he's shooting off in a rocket, I think he has to be sildenafil. His job is to help point the big phallic symbol and get it to shoot. Yeah, this is going to be one of our rocket buddies. Meanwhile, sildenafil down here is not allowed out of the base and is only allowed, well, it is allowed into our gym, at which point, sildenafil, welcome to the colony. You just became one of our rocket pilots. Perfect. So, looks like we're making some reasonable progress here on clearing out the rocket chimney a little bit. And so then it's just going to be a matter of actually, hopefully, building the rocket, which I don't know if we've got enough steel. We've got 7 tons, which we'll have to see. But the components are fairly expensive. The engine costs 2,000, each research module is 200, command capsule is 200. So I think actually we're probably going to be fine with like 3.5 ton of steel. Only half of what we've actually got should be sufficient to get to at least these nearest planets, and once we've gotten to these nearest planets, we can then start working on some research, including the solid fuel thruster, which burns refined iron and oxalite. We also would get access to the cargo bays, and one thing which I've noticed is both of these satellites here hold steel. And so for so long as we can get to these, they might actually be a good source for steel and glass rather than constantly using the industrial sauna. It's something worth looking at and checking, but I'm curious about giving it a go. Otherwise though, if we want to start doing anything such as the extremely cold temperatures, I think we need to get all the way out to this one here, the oxidized? No, even further. Ice giant, rocky asteroid, glimmering. There's 2 glimmering planets out here at 120,000 kilometers which have tungsten and wolframite, and I think without them we're a bit screwed when it comes to trying to do any of our extreme temperatures. The supercoolant and hydrogen engine sightseeing module. Where is the one that lets us make supercoolant and catalytics, espresso, oxalate refinery. There you go, the molecular forge. I think we might as well get started on researching that so we can at least make the molecular forge and start looking at those things. But I think we want some tungsten or niobium, and we also want some supercoolant, which I think we need isoprene or isopropanol or something like that in order to make supercoolant. And so I don't recall having seen that yet on the star map. We're going to have to see how we go once we actually start sending out the rockets. But that's all something we're going to have to do in a future episode. For now, we're very much at that wrapping up point. We've dug out the space now for our rocket chimney, and as I say, I think the rocket is probably going to go down to there. And in fact, if we do this across to there, and then build underneath, then that will allow us to have a bit of space to play around with the rocket, and then let's see what we can do about getting those planets and exploring a bit further in our solar system. But thank you for watching. Stay happy and healthy, and I hope to see you in the next one.